episode of Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
And this is Season 6, Episode 3.
Or Episode 121 if you're counting.
I realize the ticker says it's Episode 2. I hope you'll just ignore that.
It's Episode 2 plus 1.
Otherwise, the ticker is mostly accurate and accurate with Patreon-related updates. Of which, thank you as always, friends, for the Patreon contributions. You guys make this episode and so many of my other episodes happen all the time. Just about done with this first two-parter series thing about Dance Dance Revolution that I was commissioned for. Really excited about that. Very, very excited. So I hope to be able to continue to do that for you guys. Looking forward to a lot of things within the community. MagFest is coming up next month.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
I'm real excited about it. So
Bought some new accessories for my gun today.
If any of you are going to be out there, of course, the Nerf War is on as always, and we're back with another cartoon intro sing-along, and that's on Saturday morning, which I think is a very appropriate time, so long as people will actually get up.
If you guys, any of you guys out there in the viewing audience are going to be there, Saturday morning cartoons, like, go down to, everybody knows who goes there, the CVS down the road, they've got those little cartons of cereal, just get some of those, bring them in, no big deal, we'll have cereal and cartoons, it's going to be great, do that, because it's going to be
so
awesome.
Much fun.
Yes.
I'm really excited about it. What else has been going on?
Well, why don't you tell me what you did yesterday, Kaylin? What'd you do yesterday?
I got old.
You got old! It was birthday yesterday!
Yeah.
Hey, alright, woo!
Alright, I joined the 30s club yesterday.
Yeah. Population, us.
And maybe some other people somewhere out there on the internet. But the internet doesn't have old people on it. It's only...
Then how do you explain Betty White?
Is Betty White on the... Does she use the internet regularly?
Yeah.
Like,
George Takei, he's on the internet. He ain't exactly spring chicken anymore.
He's not gonna die, though.
I hope not. We need George Takei.
But speaking of birthday, I've got a couple of things, one of which was, in fact, from you. Both of these, actually, are 3DS games. So Final Fantasy Explorers came out just 2 days ago, and you got it for me the day it came out. And
well, actually, I got it for you back during Christmas. When you thought I was out Christmas shopping, I was ahead of the game doing your birthday stuff.
Oh, you pre-ordered it, so I thank you for that. And I kind of agree with all the people who say that it's very much like Monster Hunter, but with a Final Fantasy skin on it. Maybe a little bit easier than Monster Hunter, which to me is okay, because I really like Monster Hunter, but I don't think I'm very good at it, you know? I don't feel like I could keep up.
But you like
with all
this,
my
though.
I do really like this. I've played it a little bit every day, and I'm almost, I'm like a third of the way done through the quests already, so that tells you anything. It should tell you I like it, so... and then, Zappa, who sometimes comes into these chats, and I know he's not here tonight, at least he hasn't said so, I mentioned during my streams, earlier in the week that I did not yet have Shovel Knight, and so, there you go, he was listening and paying attention, and I've now ended up with a copy of Shovel Knight, so thank you so much again, Zappa, if you do hear this later when this is just on YouTube to be viewed by anybody. So.
Yes.
And thank you to everybody else who's on all social media who had anything to say to me yesterday for birthday stuff. I really appreciate it. You guys are too kind to me. Kinder than I deserve, really. But thank you so much. But I guess we can talk about what stories we're going to be talking about.
Well, there was one thing I was going to talk about beforehand.
Which
was?
was?
Usually I ask, what's going on. How depressed you made me when you showed me this article today about cosplay photography at a specific location in Japan.
Right. So there's apparently an organization where in Japan, you can be a cosplayer, but only 100 people can sign up for this thing, apparently. And it's by a group called Cosnavi, and they do something called blast photography.
Now, for those of you listening, take those two words there. Blast photography. It is exactly what you think it is. You are paying a fee to go out to a location, a very famous location, and stand there while somebody explodes something behind you, and you have an awesome, cool guys don't look at explosions picture to take and bring home and look awesome in. And I wish I was there!
Cosplay photographs in front of pyrotechnics, and this year it's at Iwafune.
Mount Iwafune,
where they film...
the legendary Mount Iwafune.
Where they film all the tokusatsu stuff, you know, Power Rangers kind of stuff, Kamen Riders kind of stuff, Super Sentai, all that jazz. And we went there this past September, but there were a whole bunch of hippies in the valley.
Yeah, ask us about that in the post-show. That's a story in and of itself.
Well, we've told them before, too.
Well, for anybody who hasn't heard the story, I like telling the story.
Yeah, so, but now you can pay people.
Yeah, but, like, you told me it's what, $50?
$50
I would pay $50 to stand in front of an explosion.
And then your photographer needs to pay like a $10 fee, and then
I'll pay his $10. I want to stand in front of an explosion and look awesome. Who doesn't want to do that?
It does sound really freaking amazing. So that's well, we need to get out there in the next 2 months then, because it's happening in March. If anybody wants to take photographs in front of explosions.
If anybody has like $3,000 lying around so we can get out there, by all means, take money order. No, but we do need to get back out there, especially now that I realize that's a thing they do over there from time to time. Hell yes, I want to take advantage of that.
Oh, I know. I absolutely understand.
Like that old grandmother chick that went, oh, hell yes.
Now, can we talk about the stories that we're going to be talking about a little later?
Oh yeah, right. We got a show tonight.
Right. So a little later coming up, our main stories include. You hear about that Nicktoons crossover movie?
Yeah, we heard about it going around this week, and we thought it was fake, but then more reputable sites started running with it, and once it gets to a certain point of, hey, we can check this and back it up, it looks like it's a thing.
Yeah, classic Nicktoons in a crossover movie. We'll be discussing that in more detail later.
Our second story of the evening, now that we finally had the press conference happen just this past week, we can talk to you guys about the upcoming installment for the 45th anniversary of Super Sentai. Dobutsu Sentai Zyuohger just had his press conference. We're going to be talking to you guys about the characters, the plot, the mech, the villains, a basic rundown of what to expect from this upcoming series. That'll be our second story.
And then finally, surely some of you guys have seen Great Detective Pikachu by this point, which also has a subtitle, Great Detective Pikachu, The Birth of a New Duo. And Pikachu has a real deep, manly, scary voice. And
I don't think it's scary.
Well, it's scary that it's coming out of this thing that always makes kind of noises.
That wasn't bad.
It could have been better.
Pikachu.
Nah, it's okay.
Okay,
that's all right. Don't try. We'll talk more about it. It's coming up. It's coming up.
Yes.
Until then, though, we do have some follow-up stories that I want to talk about with you guys.
Follow-ups, my favorite part. Okay, so again, it's follow-up time, and how have we been starting follow-up time for the last couple of weeks? We all love to hate it, and it's gonna be like that for another month. No, 2 months. Another 2 months, since we're just inside the 2-month mark. Not quite Justice League. Let's get right now.
I have no idea where the picture is.
Well, you always have it loaded.
Never mind. It's right there.
You gotta fake me out like that. Not quite Justice League news. Okay, so we've got a lot more news coming out from news covering Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. We are now just inside the 2-month mark of the March 25th release date. Got a bit to talk to you guys about. Actress Lauren Cohen, who you guys know from The Walking Dead, has signed on to the movie. They haven't fully confirmed it, but most sources are pointing to a flashback sequence where she will be playing Bruce Wayne's mother, Martha Wayne. So that's probably going to be a very short role in the movie. She probably doesn't even hardly have any lines other than "ah!"
If that.
It could just be, sound effects, and we just see her get shot, but basically she's there to get shot.
Right.
It's the DC equivalent of playing Uncle Ben.
That's very at least Uncle Ben gets lines.
Well, yeah, at least Uncle Ben gets lines. At least you have to feel something for Uncle Ben for a while.
Yeah.
Like, tell me if you remember any of Martha Wayne's lines from Batman Begins. Name one. See, that's the thing. Nobody can remember it. The other thing we have is from Empire Magazine. We've got a couple of scans that have come out. Some nice high-res scans of things from the movie, like Ben Affleck in the Batsuit without the mask on, which looks a lot more, I don't want to say impressive, but it makes me feel better about seeing him in the costume. Because him without the cowl on is important. But we've also got this other picture, which a lot of people think is very much sequel bait.
Wait, is it this?
Yes, it's that one. Now, I don't know if you guys can see that there. That's the...
I would have to bigify it, and it's going to take too much work.
You guys might have seen this photo already
fine.
floating around. This is Nightmare Batman from the supposed dream sequence, but if you look there in the desert sand, or this post-apocalyptic wasteland out in front of Batman, you see the Omega symbol, which is pretty much Darkseid's calling card. So, they're pretty much saying, it's Darkseid.
Yeah.
Once you get to Justice League, Darkseid's gonna be here. Which makes me wonder if the parademons were there in his dream, and now we've got the Omega symbol in the sand.
There's no hiding it. There's no
there's no
secret.
hiding it, and two, if this is supposed to be some sort of dream sequence, how the hell is Bruce seeing this stuff without any knowledge of the planet Apocalypse or any of the inhabitants therein? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. Why should he have that in his brain at all without somebody warning him, hey, there's this guy named Apocalypse? Like, the only way you could get around that is if, one, some character that we've already been introduced to knows about it, or two, it's like the Superman animated series, and Orion is in there somewhere to warn them, hey, Darkseid's on his way.
I'm sure there's 80 bajillion different characters that we haven't been told about because they've already shoved in way too many characters to start with for this movie. So, like, that wouldn't shock me at all. Not even in the slightest.
Yeah, so I'm already worried.
Okay.
And the other thing being the TV spots are now starting to run, adding a little bit more dialogue to things Batman has said, things Superman have said, but we'll be seeing more and more of those over the next 2 months up to the release.
Right.
Okay, so moving on to slightly related news with Wonder Woman. They've talked about Wonder Woman's role in the movie. According to people there working on it, she has been around she's at least 5,000 years old as far as the movie's concerned.
Okay.
Which lines up with mythology.
That's all right, yeah.
And as a result of the events we will see in the Wonder Woman solo movie, she'll have gone to help during World War I, doesn't like what she saw in World War I, and basically retires from the world up until the events of Batman vs. Superman.
It's kind of okay. I mean, the people of Themyscira saw the evils of man and were like, no.
Yeah, that's fine.
So,
that's
okay.
fine. I'll buy that.
I can live with it.
Yes. Okay, moving on to some other DC news with Legends of Tomorrow. So, we all know that the premiere was last Thursday. The second episode just aired right before this program. And the ratings shot through the roof. CW reported their highest ratings for a Thursday night in 3 years. And they've got all their key graphics covered. They're very much looking forward to doing more of these episodes.
Good?
Well, what's
That
really
is good, right?
Well, what's really good is this other picture here of Arrow star Stephen Amell, who will show up on the show in their 6th episode, flashing forward to a very Dark Knight Returns looking design with no arm and the classic goatee that he doesn't seem to ever have in the current show. It'll be an older version of him in the year 2046. So they'll be flashing forward to that. And since this is a time travel show, it's not cemented whether or not he will actually lose his arm.
He could get it back because time is a fluid, weird, bizarre thing.
Exactly, so they can mess with that however they want. But it's just nice that they're making that direct nod, as they did earlier this week with mentioning Oracle on this week's episode. But very cool that they're doing that. I like that. Okay, so moving on to some animated DC news. We talked to you guys and gave you guys the first picture of Justice League vs. Teen Titans last week. This week we can talk to you guys about the small trailer that's been put out showing the footage of the Titans taking on the Justice League. Now we know that the Justice League has fallen under the influence of Trigon, Raven's father, and the Titans have to figure out how to defeat him and get the Justice League back to normal. Looks very interesting. We might have mentioned it last week, but this will be the first DC animated movie for a while now that hasn't been directly based off a comic book.
I'm kind of interested in seeing how that does then, because I would wager that's kind of a risk for them, because they were picking storylines before that were relatively well known, relatively popular. I'm sure they all got published in
well, in hardback
in books, not hardback versions, but graphic novels published as graphic novels.
Yes, most of those have, yes.
Rather than just, let's just take this arc here that has not been published as a graphic novel. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, how long do we have to wait before we see Killing Joke?
I I can't remember right off the top of my head because they haven't confirmed the date for this one yet. They just say spring of this year, which means probably within the next 3 or 4 months. As far as Killing Joke is concerned, I believe that's going to be a fall release, which
so
kind of
next
makes
3
sense.
or 4 months is this next
For Justice League versus Teen Titans.
Okay.
For Killing Joke, that's going to be a little further out.
All right.
Because we still haven't even seen promotional shots, any art, or anything of that nature. The most that we know is they recorded it. Mm-hmm. That's all we know at the moment. Okay, so that's all that news. Let's move on to some other news. So everybody's been talking about it this week, and we'll talk about it here for a second. We've talked about Doctor Who on the show before, and the major news from this weekend is that showrunner Stephen Moffat is going to be stepping down from the show.
That's a good thing, right? Because I don't pay attention to most recent Doctor Who stuff ever, really.
Well, yes, and the series is now going to be helmed by Chris Chibnall, who's worked on a couple of episodes. Most people know him from his work on Torchwood. I know him most actually from his work on the series Broadchurch, which also has David Tennant there.
Oh, okay,
and some other Doctor Who faces that people would remember.
But I understand we have to wait for a while.
That's
right?
actually the bigger news, I think, is the fact that for the entirety of 2016, there will not be any Doctor Who on. In 2017, the series will come back, Moffat will finish out his run, and then Chibnall will take over. But
that's a long wait.
Well, not only is it a long wait, the unfortunate thing about it that...
Not as long as, of course, the gap between old Who and new Who.
Well, no, but hear me out on this. The thing about it is not only do we not have new episodes coming out for the entirety of the year, which some fans are going like, how am I going to take it? I can't go that long. You would almost think, well, you can always watch the older episodes. Well, actually, you can't as easily anymore because as of February 1st, Netflix is removing all Doctor Who off Netflix.
Well, that's a bunch of crap.
Old and new.
Are they doing that thing where they're moving to Hulu?
That I haven't been able
Plus.
to... I don't know about that, but as far as I know, that's a lot of people... Like, I've done that as well. There were a lot of volumes of Doctor Who in recent years that I wanted to watch, and I'm like, well, I don't feel like watching it. I can just watch it off Netflix. I don't have to buy a hard copy. But now it's like, well, maybe I should have bought that hard copy because now the digital one's not there anymore. The one I pay for.
Well, now you better go get it.
Yeah, that sucks. Okay, so moving on to some other news. The other thing people are complaining about, if you're not complaining about Doctor Who being held off, you're complaining about Mighty Number 9 being held off.
Oh, man.
So, I'll eat my words.
We were backers.
Yeah, I have a copy that's supposed to be coming to me on 3DS, and I'm still going to be waiting for it just like everybody else who bought a copy. Mm-hmm. The email came out just this past week to all backers of Mighty Number 9 saying, sorry, but we've had some problems with the networking and the different platforms, and sorry. And that's about it. And, yeah, now I'm starting to agree with everybody who was already not buying this, not drinking the Kool-Aid for every pushback, and now this is the fourth pushback?
Something like third or fourth, yeah.
And, yeah, I'm not feeling pretty good about this. I'm feeling kind of bad.
I'm kind of sad. I hope when it comes out, because it doesn't look bad. When I'm looking at it, it doesn't look bad. I'm hoping that the pushbacks mean they're making a better game, and not that it's going to completely and utterly fall apart once it finally gets to our hands. But they don't even have a specific date. They just say this, summer? Summer 2016?
Yeah.
Is what they say now? And that's a little frightening, admittedly.
Like another pushback, and people are going to start asking for refunds or some sort of action against them.
Yeah.
Because this can't continue. It really can't. Okay, so moving on to some other news with Sailor Moon. So this next season of Sailor Moon seems to have fixed their art problem. We have a picture here of the new updated art for this third season featuring the new Sailor Scouts. It looks a lot cleaner. It doesn't look nearly as derpy.
Well, it looks cleaner. It looks a little closer to the older artwork from the 1992 animated series. However, I'm still not completely convinced because my problem before wasn't necessarily their character design, because their character design looked more like the manga, and I was like, okay, if that's the direction you want to go in, then fine. My problem was their animation was complete and utter crap. They cut so many corners for the sake of broadcast purposes. Now, granted, apparently, then they go and re-release it and clean it up for Blu-ray re-releases, but I'm just like, nah, you should have done it right the first time? You shouldn't have to do all this extra work to clean it up to re-release it. That shouldn't even be necessary. So, it doesn't matter what the character designs look like. that's not even the problem. The problem is your animation going to remain consistent?
Right.
That's my question, and this picture does not yet prove it to me.
Fair enough. I can agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I can totally agree with that. Okay, so moving on to some other news from Shout Factory. So two major things. One being that they had their large, well not large, it was just a portion of it, Zyuohger stream on their website.
Yes.
Now, apparently, they have offered all of Zyuohger officially available on their website for streaming.
Isn't that amazing?
That is awesome.
That I realize, of course, it's Zyuohger. Somebody on the internet is going to
get on our case for that
because I pronounced it like a Z the way it's spelled and not like, because it's going to be the same issue with Zyuohger when we talk about it in a second. To the Japanese, J's and Z's sound exactly the same. Either way, it's a property that, I think they choose that one because it became Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Right.
Therefore, most Americans are going to recognize those suits, and so they're the ones that are going to stream first. But man, legal streaming subtitled Sentai in English in at least North America.
That's amazing.
That is a fantastic step in the right direction.
In addition to that, after that stream, they announced officially that Kaku Ranger Ninja Sentai Kaku Ranger will be brought over here. Now, a date hasn't been given, but they said later this year. Mm-hmm. So that means all three, as far as Mighty Morphin adaptations are concerned, will be brought over. The nice thing about it is they've already got the cover art for it, and as opposed to Zyuohger and Dai Ranger, where they show their civilian clothes, with Kaku Ranger, they show the suits. You know, the Kaku Ranger suits, which we know over here as the Alien Ranger suits. But that's awesome. Mm-hmm. They're at least from that point, they're going chronological. It'd be nice if they could go back and do Jetman and all the other older ones.
Yes.
But this is still a great step in the right direction.
I imagine first they have to go forward through all the stuff that Power Rangers fans are going to recognize, then go backward and start filling in the gaps. I imagine that's the order they're going to start
That's the order they're going to go in, but I imagine once they get up to a certain point, if they can keep up the momentum of that, once they get to Gal Ranger and all the series after that, where a lot of, I want to say, modern Toku fans started getting in, then their numbers are going to go through the roof. I guarantee you that. And the last follow-up for tonight, I know we ran a little bit long with that, is surrounding this anniversary movie for Kamen Rider Ichigo. So we've seen character designs of this updated Rider 1, but now we can actually see him here in suit. Alongside Hiroshi Fujioka, the original actor who's come back to reprise his role as Hongo Takeshi, the original Rider. And I'm not digging that.
Can he move his arms?
He can, apparently. There's some other shots of him, or the suit actor there, running, and it's very...
He's ginormous.
He's bulky. He's Rob Liefeld proportions. And if you ask me, and I said this on Twitter, Kamen Rider the First was probably the best way you could have modernized those suits. If you're just giving them the right colors with the green helmet...
The movies were first, and the next were But the suits were very, very good, yes.
Yes, but I really don't know how to feel about that. Apparently he's taking on another revamped Nova Shocker. Great, we're running out of words to stick in front of Shocker. But we'll give you guys more information on that as it arrives. There's a small teaser trailer out right now, which you can see on YouTube, but that... Yeah, he's like Hulk Rider Smash. He's not going to bother kicking anything. He's just going to pick up cars and throw them into Kaijin. Oh my god.
He's not going to ride motorcycles. He's going to surf ride.
And they updated his motorcycle.
He's going to surf ride on top of cars.
Oh my god.
And then jump off of them.
Okay, I'm going to be stuck on this all night. Let's get to the stories.
Okay. So, our first one was Nicktoons, right?
Yes, Nicktoons.
Let me find that. There it is, the one that says Nicktoons.
So, take a look at this, guys. You guys remember these?
Did they confirm exactly which ones?
They haven't confirmed everything, but the ones that they distinctly name: Doug, Rugrats, Ren and Stimpy, and All Real Monsters
are all going to be in some kind of crossover movie together with one another. Is there a reason why they're all together?
You know the reason. It's called nostalgia.
So there's not a story reason.
Well,
they've
got the writer of Napoleon Dynamite working on this, Jared Hess.
So it's going to be bizarre.
I imagine it would have to be
a little awkward, bizarre kind of humor, maybe.
Well, see, actually, I'm going to have to agree with that. Like, now, trying to connect all your properties together, Marvel did it because it's all their properties. It makes sense. They're supposed to be connected.
Yes,
These are
yes.
characters that are supposed to know each other. DC, albeit rushing it, they're allowed to do it because these characters know each other. But when it comes to something like this, no. As a kid, you understand that Doug does not live in the same universe as All Real Monsters, and Hey Arnold doesn't live down the street from freaking Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life. They're just two separate things.
Yes.
But here, we have news that Nickelodeon is in fact trying to push this forward and actually get this off the ground. And the unfortunate part, I think, is that it'll probably get money because people will have to go see it the first time to see how they do it. How to go.
I need to know.
I've got some sort of investment.
You know what's going to scare me, though, is that it's going to come off like the SpongeBob movie, where they decided randomly to make it 3D CG. Like, cause it starts off 2D, and then they go into real world up on land, and then suddenly they're 3D CG characters. Like, I don't want them to do that to these characters.
No, I don't want that. I don't want suddenly everybody's in the real world. If I hear the words real world anywhere in the trailer, in the synopsis for this thing, I'm gonna raise hell.
Yeah.
Because it's not supposed to be the real world. These are cartoons.
Yeah.
Straight up cartoons. You can't tell me, oh, I want edgy Doug. The closest you got was brand spanking new Doug, and shame on you for liking certain parts of that. But, certain episodes. Certain episodes.
I liked it okay, except for episodes such as the time that Patty Mayonnaise became anorexic to try and win a race. Like, literally, they addressed anorexia, and they had to have a PSA at the end of it asking you to call this number seeking help if you have an eating disorder. And I was like, oh, let's not go in this direction, please.
No, this is all innocent. You know, these are the innocent times. I remember the day the Nicktoons were created and showed on Nickelodeon. I was there watching all of those. Doug, Rugrats, Ren and Stimpy. Because the article lists them out of order, but that's the correct order. Doug, Rugrats, Ren and Stimpy, because that was the air order.
Yes.
And the thing is, I loved each of them for their own individual thing. I liked Doug because, to me, Doug was relatable. He had his own journal and inner monologue, and he had weird friends, and I liked that. Rugrats, it reminded me of me playing with my cousins. That reminded me of that. And then Ren and Stimpy reminded me of all my gross friends. You know, there was something for each person, each kind of person to watch. But you took them each as a separate entity, and that was fine.
Right.
Nobody ever talked in the playground of combining those things together. You don't do that. It's not quite the chocolate and the peanut butter sort of thing. I imagine that's where Nickelodeon's coming from with it, but I don't think I'm on board with that entirely.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'll take as much as, he also did Nacho Libre, Jared has.
Well, which was a Nickelodeon movie.
Because you remember, we went to the theater to go, we didn't go together, it was funny that night.
No, we did.
No, we didn't.
As a group.
No, we ended up as a group.
Well, I didn't go alone.
No, you didn't go alone, but you went with someone who was a friend of mine that you didn't know was a friend of mine.
No, I knew he was your friend.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay, but either way, we just all ended up at the theater.
Yes.
And surprisingly enough, Nacho Libre is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen, and I appreciated the work that went into that movie, where it didn't get caught up in all the trappings I thought a Jack Black movie would get caught up in, and it didn't get caught up in all the trappings I thought a Nickelodeon movie would get caught up in. Because you think of, older Nickelodeon movies like, Harriet the Spy, Good Burger, all the older ones, the humor only got to a certain point.
Well, yeah, because it was all aimed at an age range only so old.
Right.
Whereas Nacho Libre was almost entirely an adult cast.
But it was a wide-ranging movie. Like, anybody...
Yeah.
I watched the movie with my grandmother, and she laughed so hard at it.
That and this city, too. Realize the city, we saw it in San Antonio, Texas.
People were dying in our theater, just
because
laughing.
San Antonio, the majority are Hispanic, and so much Hispanic culture in Nacho Libre just poured through, and people were just dying. Oh, man. The corn.
The corn. You guys know what we're talking about.
If you've seen the movie, you know, yeah.
Now, the thing about it is, they've had the SpongeBob movies, they've had they're working with all the Ninja Turtles stuff right now.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to this, it's interesting to see that they decided this was a good idea now.
Yeah.
Because admittedly, they do reruns of the Nicktoons from time to time over on Nickelodeon, but I didn't think it was so much so that they felt it warranted, well, I guess we should probably try to milk this a little more, shouldn't we? Let's do a movie. Like, no. You're getting ahead of yourself. Just do a bigger block.
Yes.
Do a night. Just do a night. That'd be fine. Did you really have to make the jump to feature-length movie? You know, because there's some other things that need to be addressed in certain other properties, namely Hey Arnold, because we never really got the ending that we needed out of Hey Arnold, and people want that. Like, we've heard.
I thought they decided they were going to, though. Like, wasn't Hey Arnold gonna get his own thing recently?
Yeah, but I haven't heard about any of it since the last time it was reported. That's the thing. I wonder if that didn't get sidetracked to try and work on something like this.
I wonder, yeah. Or if they're going to start to tie in all of these different things as if this is friggin' Marvel Cinematic Universe.
See,
Let's give them all different movies and then tie them all together in their one together movie. Like, I don't know why you would do that with Nicktoons, but I think they might do it. Like, I'm gonna wager that that's a possibility. Doug has already had a movie. Rugrats have had several movies.
They've had 2.
Yeah, they've had, and I'm sure they've had more direct-to-video.
Well, they had a few direct-to-video things.
Doug
had
one.
Rugrats had 2.
Monsters.
Hey Arnold had 1.
Yeah, Hey Arnold had 1.
And then I think that's it. Like, none of the other Nicktoons got movie. No, Wild Thornberrys had 1, right?
Yes.
And then that was it. None of the other Rocket Power didn't get 1. Any of the other ones. But
I guess not Ren and Stimpy, huh?
No. But you look at it, though, like we were saying, DC, it makes sense. Universal Monsters, that makes sense. This is straight up Lego Movie fan fiction territory. All right, this is crossing the streams. Like, I don't know how else you're going to rationalize this and not.
The only thing I can think of is to add in the real world. Much like the Lego Movie, there's this real outside world in which.
Like, people are watching from the other side of the TV or something like that.
Yeah, and you get actors like, who was in Lego Movie?
Will Ferrell?
Will Ferrell suddenly will just be there, because he's Will Ferrell. He just shows up and stuff, to be bizarre. I can't think of another logical reason why they would all be together.
Because they would have to throw
and yet that terrifies me! Because it means we've got this scenario where real world could be a thing, and you would make them 3D CG, and I would be upset.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I really, really don't.
I don't either.
I'm not interested.
Not interested. So we'll keep you guys updated whether or not this remains a thing, because this could just end up like that supposed next season of Hey Arnold, where we just hear about it once and then never again. Or, we could just find out that we're all pranked. Who knows? But we'll keep you guys updated.
Maybe I'd be okay with just having been pranked.
In this sense, yeah.
Part of me wants it, and another part of me is like, I don't know if you should do it. Just because you can, it doesn't mean you should.
Well, yeah, because 10-year-old me is like, do it! And, 30-year-old me is like, hey, calm down. Let's wait and see what they do next. Then we'll make a decision together. Uh-huh. That's how you should do it.
All right.
Confer with younger you.
Yes.
And come to a decision. All right, so moving on to our second story of the evening, revolving around Dobutsu Sentai Zyuohger. Now it's pronounced just like Zyuranger, Zyuohger.
Where the Z sounds like a J because the Japanese don't have a difference between Z's and J's.
They chose to romanize it with a Z, but it's pronounced with a J.
Much like also Denjimon.
Yeah.
Is spelled with a Z in the middle of it, so it looks like Denzimon, but it's Denjimon.
Yeah, Denjimon. So we just had the press conference for it earlier this week. The Zyuohgers consist of 4 animal people and 1 human person who make up this 5-person team. Their devices, as we've shown you guys before, are these little cubes that basically work like a Rubik's Cube. You turn the top, and each side has a picture on it. And depending on which picture you complete, that's the function of the cube. So you change to the Ranger face side, open it up, that transforms. You change it to the Mecha side, calls their Mecha forth. You change it to the base of their giant robot, the Zyuohger King, it'll activate the combination, and then they'll create their giant robot.
Giant robots that we talked about quite some time ago. The giant robots all look like big old cubes. Like, that's the stylization of these robots now, looking all Minecraft in nature and all cubular.
Or pixel art kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because you can see it there kind of on the chest, the way the eagle looks. It's an interesting kind of function, because we've seen some demonstrations from the from Bandai showing how the transformation works. Because what happens is they are cubes. The 1, 2, and 3 cube, which is the red one, the blue one, and the yellow one, you stack them on top of each other, and interestingly enough, there's this little sword stick thing that you stick through the middle, and there's a hole in each of them, and then once you stick it all the way through, kind of like Legends of the Hidden Temple style, You
mean like the room of the secret monkey?
Yeah, that. Basically, if you put that together correctly, like the...
Unlike all the people who would put the head on the butt and then forget where the torso goes.
Yeah.
When
you do it correctly, 1, 2, 3, and then stick the little rod through, it pops open.
Yes.
And that's how it's created. That works for the toy. And apparently that's also how it works in the show, because they've got some diagrams and magazine scans showing that that's actually how it works. So, yay on them for keeping the gimmick consistent.
Okay, I'll accept that. But this is there was a press conference.
Yes, since this is an anniversary year, we're not sure yet whether or not there's going to be any crossover between any of the older series, like this currently running series Nicktoons has, because they've had a few past cast members show up, which is nice, but they weren't exactly the anniversary year. This officially is May the anniversary year.
Yes,
and of the 5 characters, we've got character descriptions of each of them. We've got their names. Yamato from Red, red, blue, yellow, green, and white. It's Yamato, Sayla, Leo, Tusk, and Amu. And most of them make sense. Like Tusk is the elephant. That makes sense. Leo is the lion. That makes sense.
It's a little too obvious, but it is a children's television show. So
and that's fine. At a certain point, they will all activate their animal powers, and whatever individual animal they are, they will sprout something on their body. Like the Zyuohger elephant will have his legs grow to elephant size. Zyuohger eagle will sprout wings like Jetman, things like that. And it looks to be a lighter series than Nicktoons was, and a lot of people have complained that Nicktoons has lost a lot of people's attention.
Well, as many Sentai do, it kind of drags in the middle, and right now they're nearing the end, and so the ending is like, oh, well, let's get back in now and see how this whole thing wraps up. I feel like, because we actually missed about
15
1 to 2 months worth of episodes, and I don't feel
it's like 10 episodes.
I don't feel like we've lost anything for having not seen it, and then we jumped back in this past week, and it's like, oh, well, it all makes sense. It all came together anyway. I don't feel like we missed much.
Yes. So Zyuohger Eagle, he's a zoologist who meets up with these animal people. He becomes their leader. There's Zyuohger Shark. She's a playful member of the team. Zyuohger
The
Lion...
shark is playful. That sounds more like the personality of a dolphin.
You would think, and since it's a light blue, you would think they would go with a dolphin, but they kind of already did that before. So maybe they're trying to change up.
Did?
See, here's the thing that I think they messed up on, because they had a chance here. Because red is an eagle, blue is a shark, yellow is a lion. They could have gone back on that eagle, shark, panther, like they did in Sun Vulcan.
But in Sun Vulcan, with Panther, they show a picture instead of a leopard?
No, it was a cheetah.
A cheetah.
Because they don't know what a panther looks like.
They don't know what a panther is. So they would have to go panther, but actually get a picture of a panther?
And that would have been black.
Yeah.
But no, yellow is a lion. Leo, apparently each of the animal people has a strong sense. One has a strong sense of smell, one can hear very well, one can taste very well, so that all carries forward from there. I imagine that with the motif, with all of these different things that they're bringing over, there's a fairly high chance, just looking at it, that it'll get adapted over here.
I'm sure. Like, we've adapted animal Sentai before a couple of times.
Well, yeah, we had Wild Force, we had Jungle Fury. I'm not saying it was a good adaptation by any means, but we had it. And this one, it's not too hard to sell. I don't think this would be hard to sell over here.
No, I highly doubt that we would skip it. Unlike Trains.
Trains and Spies.
And the only reason why they skipped Spies, I'm telling you, is because all Saban did was go, how much money did this make in Japan? That's not as much as I was expecting. It'll never work in America, and then you just kind of pushed it to the side.
Well, the other thing being, too, and because I was just looking this up earlier this week, is I went back to look up Go Busters stuff, and most Go Busters stuff, if you look on eBay or even Yahoo Japan Auctions, is fairly cheap now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you wanted to collect it, if you did like the series, by all means, now's the time to buy. But going back and looking at, full sets of their mech there from Go Busters, it's a mess. It's all this extra stuff sticking out from everywhere. Whereas here with Zyuohger, it's concise. It's simple. It's not as simple as say Tokyo was in Zyuohger, but it's just this side of too simple to be able to sell.
Yeah.
If I can say as much. And the series, of course, will be airing in just a few weeks, just after the finale of Nicktoons. It remains to be seen whether or not this is going to take off, because we just had the press conference, so there's no tracking where this is going to go yet.
Since this is yet another anniversary series, they'll pour some time and some effort into it.
Usually they do, because when you look at Gal Ranger, the way that worked, you look at, of course, Gokaiger. Those were anniversary series that
Gokaiger was just about the best anniversary series you could have possibly asked for.
See, that's the thing, I don't know how you can top that, because, they did everything.
It's like you almost have to wait another 45 years in order to be able to top that. And we've only waited, 5?
5, yeah.
So, 5 is not, In fact, why did they do that for the 45th and not wait another 5 years for the 50th to go that route? Because 50 is the better looking number.
Yeah, it's a nice round number. So I'm not sure why they did that, but they're very big. Toei, the parent company, they're very big on every 5 years. That's when we do an anniversary thing. So, yeah, in another 5 years, they're going to have to top whatever they do now. But still, I think the thing, like you're bringing up there, is that you will always have to try and top Gokaiger.
Yeah.
And it would be kind of sad if you realized you topped out at 40. It never got any better than that.
Yes.
And it just kind of either stayed stagnant or just went downhill in comparison. Because the proper mix of nostalgia and new school brought together in just the right way, in the most honorable way possible, blowing whatever Kamen Rider had done out of the water for their anniversaries, was nothing short of amazing, the job they did. And here, I don't see any of the blatant
it doesn't feel like an anniversary to me.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like an anniversary. There's no blatant marketing for an anniversary.
It looks like an interesting show, but it doesn't look like an anniversary to me yet.
No, it doesn't. I don't think it does. I mean, of course, we're going to give it a shot.
Yeah.
Like most Super Sentai, when they come out, at least for the last, 4 years, we've given them a shot as they air. And it's interesting enough to see whether or not we like a thing. Like when we started Nicktoons, we liked Nicktoons.
Yeah, of course.
It's just after a while, it's the episode 25 and on slump.
The first half of it, I was totally cool with.
Yeah, it was fine up until they started dragging their feet with Kinji.
And most series kind of do that, I think.
That was my problem with Bokenger. Because I really like the characters in Bokenger. I like just about everything about it up until the point where they're starting to deal with Natsuki's backstory, and I only cared so much.
I haven't gotten that far yet. You're speaking way over my head. I don't even know. So.
But of course, you guys will have a chance to check this out. Hopefully, in our lifetimes, maybe we'll get to see this thing subbed legally.
Maybe.
In our lifetime.
The way things are going, maybe. I'm gonna have faith.
Okay.
Just have faith. All right.
But yeah, you guys can definitely check that out in a few weeks. Dobusa Sentai Zyuohger. You'll probably come talk to us to see what we thought of it when it airs.
Exactly.
All right, so let's move on to our final story of the evening. Great Detective, or Meitante Pikachu.
Great Detective Pikachu. Full subtitle, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, is Great Detective Pikachu, The Birth of a New Duo. So the fact that it has a subtitle like that sort of gives this indication of, are they thinking of making, multiples of these games. So let's talk about what this game is. It was initially announced, I believe, in 2013. And we didn't necessarily know what it was supposed to be, just that it was supposed to be some sort of detective game with Pikachu in it. And it apparently is more of maybe a visual novel kind of an experience. It's single player, and you play, I don't know if you play as Pikachu or you play as his partner, and his partner is named Tim Goodman. It's a very westernized name.
Yeah, it's a very Western name.
Very Western name, but you look at Pikachu's hat, and come on, a very Western Sherlock Holmes-y detective kind of a hat.
And of course, the biggest, most jarring thing that anybody's drawn attention to is the fact that Pikachu doesn't sound like a little old Japanese woman anymore. He sounds like a dude.
Deep-voiced, older gentleman. A very professional-sounding kind of man who means serious business. And then at some point in the trailer, Pikachu speaks to another just regular Pikachu, and it just sounds like Pikachu. And it's this really jarring imagery and sound together. But it's hilarious. I love it. I think it's so funny.
I honestly don't know what to think of it, because initially, I wanted to laugh. Yeah, hard-boiled Pikachu here. Come along, partner. Let's see what we do. Part of me is, like, I'm intrigued. My interest is piqued at the concept of this, because how far can you take this concept of a Pikachu who solves like, I can't, because we have a running joke about an ostrich doing that, and that's a whole nother story. But when you think about mystery-solving animals, you don't necessarily take that story seriously.
You don't think about mystery-solving electric rats.
No, you don't. And the fact that they're trying to sell me a mystery-solving electric rat, like, it was enough for me to accept...
Squirrel, whatever.
It's enough for me to accept the talking, thieving cat on the side of Team Rocket.
Uh-huh.
You know, I can accept Meowth. But with Pikachu, there's a set behavior pattern that I'm used to. There's a set voice that I'm used to. And so hearing this, at first it's very jarring, and the next thing, you kind of want to laugh.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious. So now people are questioning, oh man, like, it's gonna come over to the States eventually. This thing looks too good to pass up.
Especially since we're getting ready to have, they've got that Super Bowl commercial for, was it Pokemon Go coming out over here, and, you know, Pokemon is still big over here. I don't see why they wouldn't pass
It's big worldwide. Let's be honest. Like, it's still a worldwide phenomenon. So
see, now the weirdest thing about it, and of course you guys are talking about it there, is there's this weird fan movement that Danny DeVito, of all people, should be the one to provide the English voice of Pikachu, to which I can only question, why? Why him specifically?
I mean, while we're at it, why not add names to the list like, I don't know, Gilbert Gottfried?
Why not Christopher Walken? Like, if we're just throwing names in a hat and seeing what comes up.
Why not Morgan Freeman? Like, let's just throw out names that sound really recognizable. And and it's gonna either make somebody really happy or it's gonna piss somebody off real bad. Let's just get a voice that sounds like the Japanese voice. This real deep, suave-sounding man.
Here's a concept here. What if he just sounds like a dude?
Yeah,
like just some dude. All right, that's no. I don't want to hear Bill. Why would you say Bill Clinton? That doesn't even make any sense. We're gonna solve this mystery, Pikachu. No.
Pika.
No, stop it. Yeah, Frank Welker. Yeah, Frank Welker can sound like a dude. He'll be fine. Get him.
Just generic. So long.
You know what? Get Jim Cummings on it.
So long as we're not doing Steve Bloom, who voices everything and everything ever.
Yes.
So
Zeb and every stormtrooper Zeb shoots on Star Wars Rebels.
Can we not do that, please?
That's the only thing I will say outright right now. Not Steve Bloom. Anybody. Nintendo, if you're listening, anybody but Steve Bloom. I love him as an actor, but not here.
Like, I know everybody was all up on him after being Spike in Cowboy Bebop, but look, can we just not now? Like, that's fine. That's Cowboy Bebop. Step to the side a little bit. Leave some room for the rest of the voice actors who want to do a job. You
know what? I would be fine with Johnny Young Bosch doing it. Let him do it. He just sounds like a dude.
He does just sound like a dude.
That's fine.
He could do it. So this is supposed to be coming out For 3DS, it's going to be a downloadable game. I do not know whether or not there will be physical copies produced of this game. Like I said before, it's supposed to be a one-player cinematic adventure game. So I don't know
and
how
no
much...
apparent multiplayer or online features. Like, it's just you. It's just for you playing it.
In Japan, if you pre-order it, starting from yesterday up until February 29th, you can get
So
it
the end
for,
of next month.
Yeah, you can get it for 1,200 yen, which is approximately $10, when it typically goes for approximately $13. So that gives you kind of an indication of the ballpark when we eventually get it. How much it'll probably cost. I bet it'll be 15 or less.
Well, if we get it, I say 20 max.
Oh,
max.
God, no. No, not
Oh, you
even.
wouldn't pay for it if it was 20.
I imagine it costs that much possibly because it is downloadable only.
I'm saying if we brought it over here and made it a hard copy.
If it were a hard copy, yeah, $20.
But that's the threshold, though.
Yeah, I kind of don't see it being $20. In fact, if it only costs that much, if it's only single player, one cinematic adventure, and I bet you don't necessarily have too many options, and it's more of a visual novel kind of an experience, then I bet it's kind of short.
Yeah.
I bet it's kind of short, and I bet that's how they make it episodic, and I bet they'll release more later.
That would be smart, but I don't know why I thought of this right now. Like, if they make it episodic, and if it gets episodic and it gets big enough, then would we see, like, you know how we had that Layton versus Phoenix Wright crossover?
Uh-huh.
Do we have Layton Pikachu crossovers? Do we have Phoenix Wright Pikachu
no.
crossovers? Let them solve mysteries together.
You could, but, would Capcom be... Well, it's not like Capcom characters haven't appeared in Nintendo titles before. Smash, mainly, that's the thing, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that's possible, yeah, I guess, I don't know. Maybe.
Thanks, Scooby.
Pikachu, it's the mystery gang people.
Well,
I
no,
have
it's
no
not-
idea what they're called because I actually don't like Scooby-Doo.
Mysteries Inc.?
Mystery Inc.
Well, no, here he's just got one guy with him, and it's not even... Like, we can't even tell what the relationship is. Like, is he his owner? Is he just some kid off the street?
He calls him partner.
Well,
So
yeah,
I don't
partner,
know.
but what is the actual...
Where do you think you're going? Let's find answers. Are you okay? Let's go, partner. I smell a new case. Like, these are really generic lines that you hear him say throughout the trailer.
Yeah.
So...
You know what? Let me do it. I'll voice Pikachu. I can say that stuff.
He
It's easy.
drinks coffee, apparently. Like, this is a Pikachu with, like, a real specific personality that is not the same as the Satoshi/Ash kind of partnership.
See, like, we were talking about with the Nicktoons, how that sounds like fanfic territory. I can't help but think, like, somebody read a fanfic online of, hey, Pikachu is a detective. That's pretty cute. Wait a minute.
Fund it!
Nintendo, I've got an idea! And then now we have this. Now we have Detective Pikachu. Oh, great Detective Pikachu coming out. Like, it's already on its way. And you've seen that GIF going around of him just kind of...
Yes.
Like, we're already making fun of it now, and it's only been out for, what, like a day? 2 days?
This trailer,
This trailer?
you mean? Yeah, something like that. A couple of days.
Yeah, so I don't know how to feel about it entirely. I'm not the biggest Pokemon
I
fan.
think this is hilarious. Like, I would play it possibly because I'm not that big of a Pokemon fan.
So you think,
like,
could that be a thing, then, that they did this for people who weren't inherently interested in Pokemon?
as an in for Pokemon? Possibly. Also, to create entirely new plushies that are only going to be available at Pokemon
Centers,
stores,
yeah.
Pokemon centers across Japan, and if that one in New York is still there, I don't even know.
I don't think it is.
Whatever. I've never been to New York. I don't know whether it's there or not anymore. I just know that it was once. So, yes. They will totally make new Pikachus with new adorable little Sherlock hats. And
Or
then,
what you could do
then
is...
they're gonna have them cross over with that stupid Milky Holmes.
I don't... See, now you're starting to eat into it.
See? I'm telling you, they're gonna do these stupid things.
You see? Now you see it. They're gonna do it.
They're gonna do it.
Because it's too easy to come up with.
Yeah.
Because, well, see...
Or that Studio Ghibli TV series animated Sherlock Holmes where all of them were dogs.
I thought that ended already.
It ended decades ago, yes.
Yeah, that's
but
what
it exists, Josh, don't you understand?
Yeah, so you're
It
saying...
exists.
So what are you saying? They'll bring it back to cross it over? Or that...
Just so that you can get all the different anime-ish detectives that all wear the stupid Sherlock Holmes hat. So you can put them all in one picture.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a thing.
That's what you're saying.
At least it'll be a thing on DeviantArt. Thank me later, I just invented it, and now that I've said it, it will appear.
Oh, you had to end this episode on the DeviantArt game?
On the DeviantArt
really?
game.
For shame. For shame on you. So you guys tell us whether or not you're going to buy this if it comes over here. Because we don't have confirmation of that. We don't. Just that it exists, Japan's getting it, and they're not paying very much for it.
I bet it comes over here eventually. I would spend top dollar on it. In fact, my top $15 on this game.
Oh, man.
Alright.
I'm done with this. I can't.
Okay, then let's be done. As always, of course, we're wrapping up, but if you are live with us right now, just because the show is starting to come to a close, that doesn't mean that our time with you is done. We're about to go into an additional half an hour where you guys in the chat get to talk with us, do some Q&A time. I'm excited to talk to you guys. It's been a fun week. I'm sure we'll have lots of fun things to talk about. But if you're not here live with us right now, and you're just watching this on YouTube later, please try coming down to being with us on Thursday evenings at 9 p.m. Central Time. That's youtube.com/MarsGirl/live.
Yes. And you can always talk to us during the week over on social media, over on Twitter. I'm at Josh Knight First.
And I'm at MarsGirl.
And that having been said, that's been tonight's episode of Beyond the Black Rims. We will see you guys next week.
Good night.
As 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 next